All right, so today's notes are all about understanding your paycheck. So they start out by saying the absolute best thing about having a job is getting a paycheck. Obviously, that's the whole point. That's why we work, to get paid, to make money. Paychecks and paycheck stubs are loaded with information that is very important to understand. Today we will explore the information to prepare you for interpreting your paychecks in the future. So, first vocabulary word is hourly pay, also called an hourly wage. That's the rate an employer agrees to pay a worker for each hour worked. So let's say that your hourly pay is $8. That means every hour you work, you're going to make another $8 and another $8 and another $8. A pay period is a reoccurring length of time over which employees pay. The employee's pay is recorded and paid. Some jobs pay weekly. Some pay every 2 weeks. Some pay twice a month. Some pay once a month. It just depends. Depends on your job. Depends where you work. Depends on the system that's in place there. For example, teachers, we get paid on the 15th of the month and then the last day of the month. So if the month has 31 days, we get paid on the 31st. If there's 30 days, we get paid on the 30th. And then the 15th. All right. Most jobs, I think, do every 2 weeks. So you get paid like every other Friday or every other Wednesday. I think those are the two most common. I know my husband gets paid every month. He gets paid it's a larger amount, but it's just once a month. So there are benefits to each, but as long as you're getting paid, that's the important part. So you get every other Friday? Yeah, that's good. The problem with once a month is that a month is a really long time to budget. We'll get into that, next week. We'll talk all about the budgets. But usually people prefer smaller paychecks over overtime. All right, overtime is time in addition to what is normally worked by an employee. So typically, full-time is 40 hours a week. If you work more than that, usually you get a bonus. That's called overtime. Salary is a fixed regular payment typically paid on a monthly or bi-weekly basis, but often expressed as an annual sum, usually seen in professional / white-collar workers. So teachers, we get paid on what's called salary. So I don't clock in when I get here and clock out and calculate my hours. That's not how it works. They just say, hey, if you work this whole school year, we'll give you this much money. And they divide it up by 24, and they pay me twice a month, that amount, okay? So it just depends on the type of job. Some jobs is calculated hourly, how many hours you work times that amount. Some it's salary, where they're like, if you work for the whole year, this is how much you're going to make, but we'll divide it up over your paychecks. Gross income is the income before any deductions are subtracted. Deductions, that's an amount taken out of the paycheck to cover miscellaneous expenses such as taxes, health insurance, and retirement costs. After you subtract out the deductions, that amount is called the net pay. It's also called your take-home pay. That's the amount left over that you actually get to spend. So when you get a paycheck, there's a big number on there. That's the gross income. From that, they'll subtract taxes, and depending on if you get health insurance through your work or Social Security, they'll subtract a few things off of that. And then the actual amount that's on the check, that's called your net income. You'll also see something on your paychecks that says YTD. That stands for year to date. That's how much you've already made that year. And I always like to look at that number because, it goes up, obviously, at each paycheck. That's kind of the big number since January. How much have you been making? I think it's fun to watch that. All right, any questions on the vocab? No. So the first thing we're going to talk about is calculating gross income for hourly workers. So if you take your hourly pay times the number of hours you worked, that's your gross income. And then from that amount, they're going to take away your deductions, okay? So Laura makes Laura, big money. Laura makes $9 an hour. Last pay period, she worked 32 hours. What will her gross income be on her paycheck? So what am I going to do?
Nine times 32.
Very good. Each hour she makes $9, $9, $9. 32 times.
It's 288.
280?
288.
288. Okay. Any questions? All right, the next one is calculating hourly given the gross income. So now it's going backwards. If you take the gross income divided by the number of hours worked, that's how much they made each hour. So an example for that one would be Brian sees that $245 was direct deposited into his account last night. He worked 28 hours during that pay period. How much does Brian make each hour? So we're going to do 245 divided by 28.
That's 275. I mean 875.
So he makes $8.75 an hour. What are your questions? All right, next is a fun fact. A full-time hourly employee will work about 2,000 hours a year. So typically you work 40 hours a week. There are 42 weeks in a year, but a lot of people take 2 weeks vacation. So that means you really work 50 weeks, 40 hours a week. That's how they get the 2,000 hours a year. Kind of fun. All right, next it's finding your net income. So net income is the amount after taxes are taken out and health insurance and retirement and Social Security and whatever else they're taking out of your paycheck. So you take the big number, the gross income, and you subtract all deductions. That's your net income. That's how much you get to spend. People call that the take-home pay, like we talked about on the front.
So you'll do 850 minus 3.75.
Good. So Thomas makes $850 before taxes last pay period. $133.75 was taken out of his check. Find the net income for that pay period.
And it's 716.25.
Good. Yeah, deductions are taken away from your pay. They're deducted. All right. Any questions? I'm gonna have to scroll before we start the next section, so make sure you all have the example 3 down. Any questions? All right. So number 4, I'm going to go out a little bit. Number 4 says label the following parts of the pay stub below. The employee. So can you see who's the employee? Peter Sims. So circle that and put employee. All right, employer.
Would that be a CME LLC?
Mm-hmm. All right, pay period.
05/23/2017 through 06/04/2017.
Yeah, right here. That's the pay period. Hourly pay.
Would that be 25?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of high for what we're used to. So he makes $25 an hour, so that's his hourly pay. How many hours did he work? 80.
The gross income is 24 on the bottom.
Gross income. That's his year-to-date gross income. What's his current gross income? 2,000. It's actually right here. Or you could see it right here. See how it's the same number? Some stuff's on there twice. So either one, that's the gross income. Where are the deductions listed?
Right next to it.
Right next to it. So these are the deductions, or right here is the total deductions. All right, so the net income, that's like how much the paycheck will actually be for.
Why I see net pay?
Yeah, it's net pay. It's behind the emblem up on the board, but it's that 1,400 amount.
It's not 14. Never mind.
$1,441.33. And the year-to-date info.
That's on the bottom of that one.
Year-to-date, yeah, there's the year-to-date deductions over here. And then here it's actually all the year-to-date info. The gross year-to-date, the deductions year-to-date, and the net income year-to-date. Year-to-date we call YTD. So far this year, he's made $24,000. Now he's had deducted almost $7,000. That's a lot. All right, so that is everything that I think you need to know about paychecks. Is there anything you guys have questions on?
Nope.
Any personal stories you'd like to add? All right, I'll go ahead and give you guys your homework.